Okay, we're going to talk about compound average and rate problems today. Some people call this weighted averages. Actually, your grades are done with weighted averages in a lot of classes, including mine. So, compound or weighted averages today. Here we go. So, Jarrod earns $12 per hour helping a painter, and he earns $15 per hour helping a carpenter. We want to figure out Jarrod's average hourly rate for the week if he helps the painter for 10 hours and the carpenter for 20 hours. Okay, we can't just add 12 and 15 and divide it by 2 and say he makes $13.50 per hour. That's not true because he's not working for each person for an equal amount of time. So here's the way we want to set this up. We want to say that uh, his average earnings is going to be his total, or his average earnings per hours is going to be his total earnings divided by his total hours worked. His total earnings divided by his total hours worked. So let's first write an expression for all the money he made working. He's going to make $12 per hour working for 10 hours for the painter, and plus he's going to earn $15 per hour for the 20 hours that he works for the carpenter. So the total hours is easy. It's 10 plus 20. Okay, so how much did he make for the painter? 12 times 10 is $120. And how much did he make for the carpenter? From the carpenter, 15 times 20 is $300 when he worked for a total of 30 hours. So he made $420 over 30 hours, which is $14 per hour on average. Okay, so like I said, we can't just say 12 plus 15 divided by 2 and call it $13.50 per hour. It's actually a little bit more than that because he worked for the carpenter twice as long as he worked for the painter, and the carpenter pays him more. So it's actually closer to 15 than it is to 13.5. Well, I'm sorry, than it is to 12. All right, Kaitlyn has a 4-game average of 87. So over the course of 4 games, she averaged 87 points per game. What does she need to average in her next 2 games to have a 6-game average of 90? So you guys do this all the time. You think, okay, I'm averaging 87 on my first 4 tests. What do I have to do to average a 90 over my all 6 tests that I'm going to take in a term? So it's very similar, but we're talking about points in a basketball game, I assume. Well, 87. I don't know. She can't score 87 points in a basketball game. Not sure what she's playing. Maybe bowling. Okay, here we go. So um, we're going to do that her total points or score divided by the total games is going to be equal to her average. So all the points she scores divided by all the games she played is going to equal her average points per game, obviously. Now, it gets a little bit more complicated from there. If she was averaging 87 points per game for the first 4 games, then we can do 4 times 87 to figure out how many points she scored. Okay, likewise, we can do over the remaining 2 games that she has to score an unknown number of points per game, and that's what we're trying to figure out. To get her average up to 90. So over the 6 games, as I said, over the 6 games, she wants to average 90. So we got an equation here that can be solved. So over the first 4 games, I'm sorry, if we just multiply both sides by 6 too, at this point, we can see how many points she needs to score over all 6 games. She would need to score a total of 540 points over all 6 games to average a 90, because 90 times 6 is 540. Okay. Well, she's already scored 348 points in the first 4 games. So over the remaining 2 games, if we subtract 348 from both sides, she needs to score 192 points, which means for each game, divide both sides by 2, she needs to score 96 points. So she needs to average 96 points per game over the last 2 games in order for her average to be a 90. Okay, So we figured out the total number of points she scored already. We figured out the total number of points she needs to score over 6 games. We subtracted, and we found that the difference between what she has scored already and what she needs to score is 192. She has 2 games to do it, so we divided by 2. Nice thing about this is if you think that was very complicated and you don't understand what I said the first time, is you can rewind it and watch it again. Please do. Sonia covered 30 kilometers for the fundraiser. She jogged the first 15 kilometers in 2 hours, and she walked the rest of the distance in 3 hours. Find her average jogging speed, her average walking speed, and the average speed for the full 30 kilometers per hour. Okay, 3 very basic questions here. Let's break it down part by part. For jogging, she jogged 15 kilometers over 2 hours. So she jogged at an average rate of 15 kilometers per hour. Or, I'm sorry, 7.5 kilometers per hour. Okay, so her average jogging speed was 7.5 kilometers per hour. Now, as far as walking, since it's a 30-kilometer race, she jogged 15 of it and she walked the rest of it. That means she walked 15 of it also over 3 hours. So that's an average of 5 kilometers per hour. Now, to find her average rate for the entire fundraiser, 30-kilometer fundraiser, we're not just going to add 7.5 and 5 and divide by 2. Okay, she wasn't doing those rates for an equal amount of time. Okay, she did the whole race was 30 kilometers, and the whole race took her 5 hours. So that's 6 kilometers per hour. Okay, because she was walking for longer than she was jogging, time-wise, her average is actually closer to her walking rate than it is to her jogging rate. 6 is closer to 5 than it is to 7.5. And again, down here it's just total distance 30 divided by total time 5. That's what all of these are. Total distance divided by total time. All right, that's all I've got for you today. Have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow.